Alright, so linturam, 1753. Can we put like trying to get away from the King's Indian. I know it's probably getting boring watching it over and over. Sometimes I play it by habit. So I'll try to switch up the openings more. I know some of you have been complaining. Yeah. So going with the bishop pair is not a good idea, I don't think. Here, that would break with f4, maybe. Depending on which bishop I get. Okay, so it's kind of a concession, moving his piece back. I could take here and then play f4. That would secure the bishop pair. And I think it's kind of within the spirit of the opening, so if he takes, I'll take the bishop. Gain time with my bishop development on his queen. So actually taking with the pawn also gains space and keeps my pawn structure together. Also threatens e5. The knight can come back to e4. Okay, queen e1 is probably what I wanted to play anyways. And now looks like my queen's going to gain a tempo on queen h4. So that looks like that fails to this move. Because I'm hitting the queen. And I at least have a sack on f7 and then picking up this knight. At the very least. So I don't really want to move the knight, but taking on f7 looks okay. Weakens the light squares. My dark square bishop's kind of bad in this position, so something to keep in mind. Knight e4, he just swaps it off. If I take on f6, he'll take on g5, take on g7, he plays rook e. I think I'll just open up the king side. My king's relatively safe here, and yeah, I don't even know if I have to take there. I might be able to just play something like this. Maybe queen g3 first. We're taking here, and then queen g3 after rook e8. Alright. And then maybe queen g3. I'm threatening the bishop. f5 is what I expect. Then h3. So the bishop will have to move. So bishop e2 is an option, but g5 is hanging. And if he takes, then I'll take with the bishop, attacking his queen, and h3 is next. So I'll win the bishop if he opens the g file. So all in all, pretty good position. I don't really want to play h3 unless I have to. The king might go to h1, and this rook might go to g1. So he's taking a minute to think here. So I have the bishop pair and the position's opening up. Yeah, so I think h3 here just forces the bishop. I don't think f5 helped the cause. It just seems like it does keep me from. If he takes, I still have bishop takes. Oh, okay, so we broke this pin. Now I can take this, or I can. I'll just take the free piece. Yeah, this is way too open for him. too open for comfort, I'm sure. So I might actually push this, or I'll improve my bishop first. So I don't want to take and then have my king exposed, just to... I'll play bishop d2, just so I can recapture here with the bishop if he does take, and this pawn's protected. And I don't want to take now. I can take now, I'm threatening to take now, but before, if the bishop's on c1, then he can take on f1 with check, and I have to recapture somehow, and this rook gets in the open file. So here I've kind of wasted a move, but I kind of tricked him to take, and this opens this diagonal for my pieces. Alright, and this actually looks good. Queen h4 also threatens to go that way, so I'll go h3 instead of f3 because it doesn't block the rook this way. I don't see a good way to defend this. Okay, and he's resigned. Just because there's no real good way to defend the g4 pawn. See here, it just loses a piece, and he's just his g pawn is just too overextended for any of his pieces to defend. So let's take a look at that. So another King's Indian attack. I'm gonna try to switch it up, like I said. He doesn't want to really take with this bishop because, yeah, it does fracture my pawns, but his central pawns will be stuck on dark squares after this recapture, and anyways, this bishop will be considered his bad bishop, and this is his good bishop. So he wants this to maintain and control light squares. He has a lot of light square weaknesses because he it's kind of a trade-off for having so much space in the center. With black, you lose something, whether it's development time or you weaken squares. In this case, he has a lot of weak light squares. Alright, so yeah, so knight g5, just kind of probes this bishop, you know, does he want to go back to d7, is that a good square? Not really. Probably taking, I don't know, it's kind of hard to say. Taking, moving, I think moving this knight to f, maybe even bishop g4 here would have been okay. F3, and then, I don't know, moving it back to maybe to g6, and eventually playing for like knight d7 and f5, where the bishop would be here instead of here. Or it would be safe from me if I played f3, g4 to kick it back this way. It would still be okay for black. I think f5 is his plan here, maybe even b5 in the future, if he can. Oh. a6 and b5 still, rook b8, still an idea. f5 and b5 is definitely how he has to break through, and I think he should go for b5 because he really wants to play on the queen side where his pawns are. His pawn chain points to, where mine is, my pawn chain is clearly pointing to the king side. So here he undevelops his bishop, and I just don't see the real logic of this move. It just seems like, you know, he wasn't really planning b6, bishop b7, I don't think. So okay. So I gain the bishop here, and I get a stronger center than him. I've kind of broken down the center a little bit. There's no pawn here. And I have like a mobile pawn center where I kind of decided the game with this e5 move. It's kind of the obvious threat. So yeah, counter attack on his queen. It's like a little bit more forcing than this h6 move. And this just breaks up his king side, so it's just definitely better for white. After queen g3, just already starting to open up lines. His attack on the queen side isn't started, and he's not even planning to start it. f5 is it's not a defense. It does nothing. The bishop had to move. That was it. So this just loses the piece. think there was a better defense. I mean, he could have just played bishop back, and I don't really want to take this way because it closes the g file and the queens get exchanged, so which will double my g pawns, and I think black will be fine there. But I will take with the queen, and oh, I see. Maybe he was worried after this. Yeah. Okay, so yeah, there's a point there. Such a queen g3. Maybe, like I said, taking here was probably bad. Maybe just rook e8. You can take this almost whenever. There's no defenders, and he'll always be able to defend or attack it more than I can, unless he gives me too much time to defend. So queen g3. Now f5 isn't so bad. I'll never really be able to take as long as he maintains this pen against my queen. And h3 is not as effective. And now, well, okay, the bishop's hanging. Okay, maybe, what if he plays this? Rook e8. Maybe that's okay. Again, I haven't analyzed this too deeply. So yeah, after he takes on g7, again, he probably should have left that g7 pawn there to defend his king. Leave the pawn on f7, and try to get his pieces active. So he loses a piece. And bishop h3, there's no way to defend the threat. Say something like rook e2, bishop here. So no, there just really isn't a good. Seemingly, there's not a good response. Maybe rook f6, just threatening to respond like so. Well, I would win a piece, so with threats, so that would be possible. Queen here, and I have here. Actually, even stronger would be bishop check here, where the queen couldn't block. Here, the queen can block, and here the queen can't. So, I do think black's busted in this position. So, I don't see a defense. If you do, post a comment in the comment section below. Thanks for watching.